Good morning, Smite fans. Starting a little bit early because we've got the Challengers Cup finals this morning, EU side.
Really exciting to have these guys here in the building. It's a long time. We've been doing this for about 3 years now, having both the, major and minor leagues, if you will, of the Pro League and then the Challenger Cup next to it. And usually the Challenger Cup kind of gets pushed aside, unfortunately, just due to logistics. So
a little bit.
It's really nice to, that's where I come from, right? Me and Hindu did the long time running the Challenger Cup next to Krat and people like Moji and everything. So I've got a special place in my heart for these guys, and it's really cool to see them come on board for the LAN.
And coming back from the Challengers casting, I was able to cast this past summer as well as this fall circuit. It's been amazing watching these teams just grow, gain their synergy, and now it's fantastic to meet them in person. We've got all the EU boys in here from Burrito, from Circa, and we're going to see them duke it out at LAN.
I'm also really excited to get to see one of my old friends, iRens.
Yes.
He's one of the more excitable players here. Both in the SPL, he used to play on Team Dignitas before SunTouch booted him out, and now we've got him over here up in Team Circa, and it's going to be really fun just to have him around and see some of the old faces.
The banter is going to be fantastic.
It already started.
But all these guys, this morning, I was sitting in the caster's room. I can hear them all the way down the hallway, goofing off, getting excited. Their excitement is infectious. It's contagious.
These guys, like I said, when you're in a Challenger team, a lot of times you don't really expect to make it this far or even get into this position to actually be here for LAN, because usually it's Challenger Cup to maybe a shot at the SPL, and then those bottom teams don't usually make it out to LAN. So with the big change that we had here as far as format is concerned for the fall split, everybody gets a chance to play.
So a little bit of the logistics. If you watch the Challengers Cup, Hysteria are now known as Burrito, picked up on their way to LAN.
Yep, and they're a strong team. Burrito, one of the hometown Smite organizations, they have sort of grouped together and created that squad, so it should be a lot of fun to see how they work out. I know Cyclone and Hazer were talking really big about Burrito and what they can do, so we'll see if they are as good as Coach Hazer says.
Yep, so Burrito, they had a very good start. The first couple of weeks, they were very consistent, just immediate domination. However, about week 3, they actually lost to Circa, and then it started to kind of waver from there, going 5-2 in the round robin phase. But Circa completely stepped up. The first couple of weeks weren't good, but they went 6-0. Immediate domination in the round robin, so kind of having a little bit of a flip.
Yeah, big changes there as well. Circa have also pulled out all the stops as far as the roster changes are concerned. Like I said, Renz is here. He's going to replace one of the old hunters, and then you've got Faeles and Mr. Stefan in the jungle and the mid, respectively. Worth noting, Faeles and Stefan have played together for a while, despite joining this team more recently. So, despite being on a new squad, they do have that jungle mid synergy.
Rip Kaspanify, Ferricrick, and Dazoni who could not make it, but we do have Faeles and Renz who do have SPL, just practice and experience.
For
so
sure.
Hopefully that's going to help them against Burrito. But standard bands coming out, Fafnir, Raijin, Nemesis, and Freya. First locked in for Burrito, Batz.
And Terra being hovered over here for Circa Esports. Want to see if they can survive. Shout to the people out there that got that one. But Terra is going to be there selected, maybe next to Vulcan. We'll see how this one really rocks itself out. Are they going to go this direction? I hope so.
I hope so too, because Tynz is literally Vulcan. Like, literally Vulcan. He plays Vulcan so well, so Mr. Stefan being able to take that for Circa gets that out of his hands. But Gorgonzolla is a playmaker. He loves these big gods like Batz, interrupting like Thor. So Batz into the Ares, into the Bellona. Great roster so far for the boys of Burrito.
The Bellona is an interesting choice here. There's so many characters that can just shut her down, completely stop what she wants to do in lane. Once upon a time, I think she was a one-size-fits-all god, but in that solo lane, there's just too many options. So seeing Burrito pick this early Bellona, I think is a little bit telling to the inexperience.
No Numbers doesn't lose lane. I don't think I've ever seen him lose lane. Mm-hmm. At worst, he goes even. So I think he's pretty happy with this Bellona pick, going to be able to, if he wants to take Terra there, awesome. If not, picking something in the last two spots, go for it.
We'll see how it works out. Certainly No Numbers has proven to be pretty strong. We've seen him here and there, most notably on some of the Guardians as well. So Kind of curious to see that Bellona choice. Second bans are out, however, a lot of jungle focus coming out of Burrito, whereas Circa Esports are going to focus on the Jingwei and the Ra.
No surprise, you want to lock down Faeles as best you can, just because he's one of the boys that come in with experience. He knows what he's doing alongside iRens, and you want to target that as best you can.
One of the big things for Rens is that he's going to be playing on his Ram. A lot of times, so Rens was known as sort of the king of the scrims, which unfortunately for Rens and his fans, it actually doesn't matter. It matters what you do at the big stage, and Rens routinely kind of dropped the ball there, but when he didn't, when Rens was actually an impact player in the SPL, it was on that ROM. So he's got a character of his choosing here, and perhaps a little bit more suitable opposition here in the Challenger Cup, so we'll see how the ROM works out.
The opposition has finished Burrito Esports, locking in Zeus and Xbalanque, focusing in on the late game with that carry.
Right, the Xbalanque is going to bring the ultimate as well, which might cause Vulcan's ultimate to go a little haywire. We saw that yesterday out of the brilliant playbook of Coach Hazer pulling out the Xbalanque to really mess up Kiro's Scylla, and we saw how effective that was at getting Cycle on their only win. So a big deal right there. Xbalanque shooting for the same thing, looking towards the Vulcan.
Odin has been picked up, and still Odin can go solo, Odin can go support, so Terra and Odin could swap.
And Ratatoskr is a little bit of a flex character as well. We saw Divios last week play him in the solo lane, so you have the jungle solo spectacular Ratatoskr. You've got Odin, 3-position man, Terra.
Please no jungle Odin. Please no jungle,
Odin.
No, please no.
No jungle Odin for Faeles?
No.
I mean, he'd be a little bit safer jumping into those mid harpies.
It's possible, but Batz, you want to lock down your opposition. He's going to be able to jump out at that point. You're going to want to go for something more like Ratatoskr, so you can pick up whenever you want, jump down wherever you want. It's going to be up to the Batz to have his rotations on point. Otherwise, that's just going to go to Circa for the jungle.
Absolutely. I'm pretty sure we'll see the jungle rat, and it's really the Terra and the Odin that might flex, like you were saying before, in all seriousness. But just a reminder, folks, this is unlike the Pro League games that we've been playing here for the past month and a half, or actually, well, the entire fall split. This is going to be a best of 3, believe it or not. So no point system, no 2 games. This is unless we get 2 wins in a row. But Circa and Burrito will be facing off right here, and there's the monkey that you were talking about, Gorgonzolla, the only Italian in the Pro League besides Dark Dodo.
He's looking to bring the plays. It's been amazing watching all of these players and seeing how their, I guess, just personalities and synergies develop. It's really on point for Burrito, but it's going to be up to Circa to step up because they don't have that same kind of synergy. They don't have the same roster, and Burrito were very fortunate to be able to pick up their original roster and bring them to LAN.
Well, with that in mind, I mean, Tynz knows a certain thing about watching teams sort of put together these Frankenstein rosters. He was knocked off of Myrmidons, which then became Elevate. And what you have right there is 3 players grouped up with 2 other players, and Circa has something similar.
You talk about Frankenstein teams. I want to talk about where this roster kind of came from. Burrito ended up 3-0ing a team called Wash, We Are Still Here, which was kind of a hodgepodge group of ex-SPL players.
Well, they're not still here.
Well, they're not here right now, but 2 of them are. They picked them up, but it's funny because Burrito 2-0'd that team. So this is a nice redemption, a little bit of a rivalry going on between Faeles and Mr. Stefan.
So we'll see if Stefan is actually Mr. Stefan, or if Faeles and his team will be able to make it happen. DeathPanter here on the support. A lot of familiar names here, Tiger.
Definitely. But as we start, I'm liking the deep wards coming out from Circa. They want to know this choke point right under the mid-harpies just to see where the rotations are coming, if anybody's going to be late. They want to lock down that Zeus who has no mobility.
So Tynz here on the Zeus, we all know about how strong the Vulcan is out of this player. But how strong is the Zeus here? Because Zeus is a character that can either go big or go home.
They're kind of similar in the aspect that they don't really have those escapes. They both like to dish out the damage. His Vulcan's a little bit better, but I don't mind the Zeus.
Well, there's a nice little shot out of him. Chain lightning, level 2. Who does not seem to have that detonate available just yet. It's all about the wave clear for now, and the right side Harpies are going to go the way of Tynz and his jungler.
And that's going to be a nice little start just to get a little bit of extra. The left sides are going to go to Circa, but where did those fire elementals go?
The fire elementals wound up hitting, looks like Burrito, able to keep just about even with the rest of the teams.
And that's going to help get to level 5 a little bit sooner, depending on how the lane phase goes over in the solo. No numbers. attempt to do some work with this Bellona. Going into the Odin, what's that matchup like?
When it comes down to it, Bellona is pretty strong at just clearing the wave. This is a perfect example of two solo laners that are going to just look to ignore each other. If Bellona can smack him with the hammer here and there, so be it. But Odin's really looking to just jump into the wave. No Numbers is looking to clear it with the hammer. And later on, you might see them go head-to-head, but it's really nothing that either two players are concerned about.
Shouldn't see too much action. It'd be nice if we saw something, but since I wouldn't call Odin a basic attack-centric god, Scourge isn't going to do too much compared to if they had put like a Kronos or somebody over in solo.
Sure, it'll help him a little bit when it comes down to after the wave clear. He jumps in, and then that's all he really does, and then he's going to basic attack like most solo laners do, and you can smack him.
Here comes Faeles looking to try and lock down No Numbers. Not going to be able to get away because he doesn't have the ultimate. He's trying to bludgeon out, but inside that cage, Faeles going to find first blood for Circa.
Beautiful timing right there. Burrito understood, or rather Circa understood that Burrito's solo laner No Numbers without level 5 doesn't actually have a way out of the ring. So Odin's not going to be able to abuse Bellona too much, but now is the time, and Ratatoskr certainly knew that. So Circa make the gank over on the right-hand side at the exact time that they need to, keeping No Numbers beneath that ultimate level.
Lace gonna get CC'd out, take a couple of shots out from Rens, but no real kill secured just yet, unless he just is not careful. But DeathPanter gonna do a good job of sending out the chains and just being intimidating enough so Circa doesn't rush forward.
Well, here comes Faeles again on the left side, looking for a gank. Doesn't look like Burrito are aware of his appearance just yet.
Not yet. Not seeing too much vision coming out from both teams. I like the deep ward coming out from Circa, but now that that's gone, we haven't seen anything else. They're still waiting on the opportunity to just find these plays. Circa were able to make one early on. We don't normally see those ganking attempts until about after the 2-minute mark, so I'm really glad to see it.
Just keeping things a little bit fresh and new. We're going to have Lace back in the lane here on the Xbalanque. This character is a late game god. Certainly nothing to start a fight with anytime soon. Ram's a late game god, but Rens should be able to fight his opposition a little bit earlier than Xbalanque would be able to, as long as Sibi doesn't get any kills to boost that passive.
We've seen the jungle priority over on the right side of the map, but how come we're not going to see anything with these late game gods on the left side, but when they want to shut them down early?
Yeah. It's just Circa and Burrito opting not to look towards those hunters. I agree. I think it's an excellent shot, especially towards the Xbalanque, to get him shut down early, because a Xbalanque, at least the Ram can fight a little bit from behind, but Xbalanque I think has a big time trouble really dealing with any sort of big deficit.
We're hitting that 3v3 phase over in the mid lane where we're going to have these rotations from the jungle and the Guardians respectively, but left mid camps are going to go to Circa. There's no real contention coming out from Burrito.
I mean, there's just no reason to go ahead and invade those back camps. Nothing that you're going to see that style of aggression unless you're able to get a pick or specifically surge down a tower. If the mid tower is gone, you're able to find somebody sneaking around in the jungle, you can take those Carpies.
When you're at home playing these games as these players, there's a lot of aggression. I talk about the CC meta being a little bit different from what we see in the SCL and the SPL. So how does LAN change that?
Well, it's all about the aggression, and rather it's all about the mind games and how comfortable everybody is. You mentioned, playing at home. Well, playing at home, you can wear your favorite, sweatpants and eat Cheetos and do whatever the hell you want. Here, admins take your cell phones. You got to sit down when you're told where you got to sit down. It's a very unfamiliar territory, and that's just as far as when you're playing. Other players can sort of get in your face in the hallway. They can sort of, rattle you a little bit. And the difference is, one, you're far away from home, which is just going to make you uncomfortable. And when you're playing in a situation like this, you're looking for that comfort. So it's all about who can adjust better to their various surroundings.
And that's where Circa has a little bit of an advantage. Lace going to get aggressed upon by Rens, but now turning the aggression in on him, jumping away, using the ultimate and Faeles, hopping in the air. Snipe's going to miss. Good purification, but it's still not going to be enough, and the Rat going to find another kill.
Good fight coming out of Rens right there, just taking the fight directly to his opponent, rolling forward. This time, going to get snatched up by the Ares, narrowly avoiding it thanks to the purification out of the Ram. But a couple of good shots. I think he hit 2 out of the ultimate snipes, and then, of course, his buddy Faeles comes down from the sky to clean things up. Nice gank coming out from the Circa boys.
Gorgonzolla rotating over to the left, but JacobHL and Faeles see him. I don't think he was worried about trying to sneak in. Instead, just give a little bit of extra pressure to the left so we don't see Circa try to push that advantage.
Exactly, and like we were saying before, got to look to shut down these late game hunters. Xbalanque, Lace is going to suffer a death right there. If I'm Burrito, I'm certainly looking to make that happen, especially since my jungler is Batz. Late game, Batz isn't exactly going to be the destroyer of worlds like some of the other characters that can pop out of the jungle. So you know what? Early game, why don't you get Lace off quickly, get him a couple of kills to boost that passive, 5 power per kill, and help that travel along.
Hasn't quite happened yet, though. Lace popping around the corner just to check and make sure that everything was still there. Rens wanted to take those boards, but didn't have the timer on it. Instead, we're going to see players head back, look for their farm, look for their buffs, and then regroup.
So right now, 2 kills onto Circa already. And it looks like Gorgonzolla wants to join the party. Rens is at least in vision, but he's a long way away, and Gorgonzolla does not have blink. So poor pathing. If the jungler actually wanted to initiate right there, he probably should have taken the more aggressive pathing to get behind, but it looks like he's just here to help out clear out the pigs.
I mean, you want to try to make a play when you can, and Gorgonzola is good about that. Lace popping the ultimate once again, but Faeles still continuing to bully. In retaliation, Gorgonzola going to pop the ultimate, but with no follow-up, even from DeathPanter there, we're not going to see really any plays. DeathPanter bringing in the no escape into the Terra, but here comes the Vulcan ultimate, not going to lock anybody down.
Ren's able to roll out of there very quickly, and it looks like trouble for the jungler. Faeles able to escape, and at this point, this is Circa's game. Really, they're running the pace. That's one of the things that Ratatoskr can do. Usually, you talk about Thor being a character that can run the pace of the game. Other characters can do that as well. A Wheelish can have a really successful time traveling the map, ganking wherever she feels fit, and forcing the enemy jungler to go ahead and follow up. Well, Ratatoskr is the exact same way, especially with the semi-global ultimate, able to surprise players and catch those runaway kills. Lace right there, many other junglers couldn't get that, not meaning Faeles, but meaning the Ratatoskr. Able to just show up out of nowhere and secure that kill on the left side. Now, 3 kills deep. Circa's actually looking to run this game. Burrito have to catch up, and Gorgonzolla has to make himself known. He's been really quiet so far, and that's going to be an issue. Burrito are not going to win this game if the monkey stays quiet.
And this is something we don't normally see coming out from Gorgonzola. It's just, I don't know if it's land jitters, just being here. That's something that Circa have in their favor. They have these 2 experienced players or more that have been to LAN or aren't worried about this, versus Burrito, they're pretty much fresh faces.
And yeah, exactly. And that's something certainly to think about when you're coming down to it. And watching Faeles. Faeles has the experience, maybe not particularly on land, but certainly at least at the Pro League level. Here's a big play coming out of Circa. We've got a decent enough lead here, just over 1,000. It's not going to be large enough to fight directly into Burrito with a Zeus ult, so they'll back off.
Yep, still a little worried, even though there's no Wraths on the board. Oh, nice blink coming out. DeathPanter using the no escape into the Zeus ultimate. Fear no evil. JacobHL is gone. Gorgonzola finally making the play he was looking for, trying to follow up with Faeles. Instead, DeathPanter gonna take a Vulcan ult to the face.
That right there, DeathPanter got off to a great ultimate, and you saw the follow-up from Gorgonzola. I'm not going to say that play was poor, that worked out, but Burrito have to look to work their synergy a little bit better. Batz and Ares work fantastically together because they're both beads burners. What I mean by that is purification is going to be used on cooldown because Ares is going to go in, pull the ultimate, and nobody's actually going to get pulled because he's Ares. Everybody knows what happens, and they hit their purification. Right after the fact is when Gorgonzola comes in and drops the ultimate, or vice versa. Gorgonzola ults and then Ares is able to be successful. But either way, what we saw right there was DeathPanter got the pull, and then Gorgonzola used his ult to secure the kill that was probably already there. I would like to see the disjointment of those 2 ultimates and really utilize the fact that they're both very good at burning these relics. They got 1 kill, they being Burrito. Had Gorgonzola and DeathPanter split up their ultimates, I think we might have been able to see 2 or 3 picks, and that would have resulted in the Gold Fury. So fantastic that Burrito is able to get on board, but I still have a bone to pick with the way they're playing their composition.
Well, they have a bone to pick with the Gold Fury right now, starting it up once again. Circa sitting 2 kills above, able to have the teleport to the ward, but DeathPanter and Tynz coming around the corner. Burrito gonna be able to take that Gold Fury instead.
What, did they steal it with a chain out of Ares?
Apparently.
Burrito just snatched that one away. That was ridiculous.
Didn't even have to spin the ultimate for it either. That was nice. Tynz still going to be able to use that in the following team fight if Circa decide to try and aggress.
You know, Circa right there, it's hard to fault them because Oh, the Zeus ultimate is down. That's what you're waiting for. When you're Circa and you're looking to make a play under the Gold Fury, you got to hope that the Zeus ultimate and the Fear No Evil are going to be down. Those are the two largest threats. So you say, hey, he just used it in mid lane, not a big deal. But even still, you gotta zone. We've seen Gold Furies be stolen with Geb ultimates.
Or Geb in hands. Panther gonna get pulled back. JacobHL still stuck in the storm. One detonate may be able to take him out, but we're not gonna see that be activated quite yet. There it is. Tynz able to take out the Terra.
So again, we saw those two ultimates overlapped. Really need to see the Fear No Evil and the No Escape, two separate excursions, so we can see more than one kill. The way that Circa has been playing, well, they've stalled a little bit. Faeles hasn't been able to make another play, and especially with having that Gold Fury stolen, that's going to put a little bit of a stop on the momentum for the red team. But here, Circa, they're off to the lead. If Circa keeps up the pace, and then Burrito are answering back with one kill every now and then, that's not going to be enough to catch up.
Thinking back to my fellow Challengers Cup casters, a big word when we saw Burrito play, when we saw Circa play, was momentum. Both of these teams are very momentum-based. You're going to see Circa fall back a little bit. We're not going to see too much aggression quite yet while they clear their heads. Meanwhile, Burrito are going to try to run with this as best they can. They're able to tie the game back up from what would have been a pretty dire gold difference if they had been able to not steal that Gold Fury.
Yeah, the Gold Fury play is definitely very big, and totally always reminds me that luck is simply the combination of preparation and opportunity. But at the same time, I also have to stress that that Burrito steal was very lucky. It was either a Zeus basic or an Ares chain, something that did a very small amount of damage. But at the same time, preparation combined with opportunity, Circa gave them the opportunity. No zoning whatsoever. And they allowed Burrito to walk on in there. I'd be surprised if we see Circa do that again without the lack of defense.
I guess you could call that lack of just everything, but Ren's looking for the ultimate, not going to be able to find the shots, instead backing off. They want to take out Lace. Lace has been the bully for the beginning of the game, 0-2 and 2. They want to continue to try and stunt his growth so he doesn't hit that ridiculous Xbalanque late game.
Absolutely. Like we were talking about earlier, this is definitely one of the characters that you want to shut down. Xbalanque can impact the game very, very much so in the late game. And Jacob can be able to pick up those left side harpies, so a little bit of a win for Circa there.
Just every little bit counts. At this point, I don't think we're going to see too much in the next couple of minutes. It's going to circle around another Gold Fury, maybe even try to find a pick at a tower just to get the little bits of aggression. We're not going to see a big cataclysmic team fight quite yet.
Not just yet. We're 14 minutes in. We should be able to see one in about 15 or 16 minutes. There's a nice jump over on the left-hand side, but Gorgonzolla shows up. That's the type of counter gank you want to be able to make if you're a Hun Batz. But Gorgonzolla goes a little bit too deep, Tiger, and iRens has him in the sights.
He's going to teleport back, but DeathPanter with the blink in, and the ultimate going to find two, but JacobHL here to try and help out DeathPanter, not going to be able to get away. They both went a little too deep, and because of that, they lost both their lives.
No real reason for DeathPanter to go in there. He knows his teammate is dead or likely about to, and then DeathPanter goes in, and at the end of the day, whether or not you're trying to save a teammate, you're walking in 1v3. Zeus ultimate going to come down, and that'll be a good job to defend the tower this time around, and taking out the wave instantaneously, allowing the tower to stand up for another minute.
I like when people use these ultimates, these big AoE ultimates like Fear No Evil as zoning. Faeles using the Sanctuary to try and avoid the detonate damage, but Tynz gonna wait it out and find the kill anyway.
No reason for him to be right there. Faeles has had a strong game so far, but still able to find himself on the bad side of things. 4-1-1 as he suffers his first death.
Yeah, but he's been bullying. He's been doing exactly what he's supposed to do, especially over on the left side. I was wondering why we didn't see prioritization early game on the dual lane, and he's certainly proven me wrong now.
Yeah, he's bringing it, and he's got Lace right in his targets. Like you said, Lace already died twice now, so that's certainly what Faeles has in mind, looking to keep this hunter down.
And we're not really going to be talking about Lace too much when it comes to these team fights, just because, one, we haven't really seen the big ones, and two, he's still trying to farm. It's a farm game for Xbalanque. He's a little bit behind. He's catching up a little bit, but iRens really has the gold lead on him right now.
Absolutely. I mean, Rens, what is he leading? He's leading by almost 1,000 gold there. But quick, Burrito going to start to sneak the Gold Fury. Circa are filtering in. They have a couple of players here local. Down from the sky. Still goes to Burrito, and the Fear No Evil will allow the disengage for the blue team.
And No Numbers is the only one that's really in immediate danger. DeathPanter using the ultimate once again. Caught in the cage. Tynz able to take out Faeles, which is a huge damage dealer for Circa.
Big play for the mid laner out of France. And Tynz, one of the players that was, like I said, on the Myrmidons team, ultimately replaced by Nulissa, as Myrmidons were able to make their way into the Pro League and then get picked up by Elevate. So here he is on his second shot trying to make it into the Pro League.
Yep, and on the back of that gold fury, we are going to see the gold spike 1,500 in favor of the boys on Burrito, and a little bit of experience lead, which isn't much at all, but it's a nice step. It's a stepping stone into trying to find this lead 16 minutes in.
For sure, we're going to look to see the players really utilize that to surge forward, but for now it's all about the gold, and Burrito have to look to really launch this one. They just got a gold fury, and that's a nice start, but where else can they go? Tier 1 towers are going to be a fantastic opportunity, so Burrito, I'd like to see them group up, even still with the small lead they have, group up right about now and try to find the pick on the left side of the map, and then they're able to decide if they want to go mid or left side for the towers.
Gorgonzolla messing around with that turret, gonna teleport to it with the monkey, but Stefan is alone in the mid. We are gonna see Faeles start to rotate just to make sure that Burrito don't get a little too spicy, a little too frisky.
So right now here in the solo lane, as we predicted, very lackluster matchup. No real fights going on. It's Bellona versus Odin. Unless you see influence from the junglers, you're likely not going to see a dead character anytime soon. So,
not quite. Just waiting. This isn't EU meta. This is more just calculated. It's not quiet. It's calculated. There's so much on the line. They only have 3 games to worry about. This is it.
And this is also what we see out of the Challenger Cup teams, or not just Challenger Cup teams, but even some of the lower end SPL teams, the teams with a lack of experience. Making these plays are dangerous. We saw that happen very early on with the Gold Fury play, right? Hey, we're going to get the Gold Fury, but very quickly it can get snatched away. That's what happens with the team fight. So we see these teams, especially on LAN, teams will play more careful. Even the high-end teams will play more careful and more timid, and the low-end teams even more so. So having this style quiet game, 9 kills in almost 20 minutes of gameplay, this is kind of what's to be expected with teams of this caliber.
I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but the wards, I'm not seeing hardly any coming out from Burrito. Circa peppering the map here and there. I'm liking that, but Burrito need a little bit more vision. I don't want to say on paper it's against them, but Circa have the experience. Even though they don't have the team synergy, they have people who have been to LAN, they've played in a professional setting. They know what they're looking for, and Burrito need to mirror that, or at least go for it.
Absolutely. Burrito right now looking for a little bit of that flair that we were talking about. You can see No Numbers trying to push up.
I want to see more coming out of Mr. Stefan. He's playing this Vulcan nice. We haven't really seen him die yet. He's got an assist, but he's got that fully stacked Doom Orb. He's going to be pushing out so much damage. I want to see more plays centered around this Vulcan to try and get that leg up.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 4,500 player damage with a Vulcan in 19 minutes. He just needs to be more active. And I think that's my call to action for both these teams. Be more active. There's a lot of opportunities that we're seeing, a lot of opportunities for ganks, kills, or otherwise, and we're just not seeing teams take them.
The only play that I've seen coming out from either team that actually they started and got something out of was that second Gold Fury. Everything else has been reactive to the other team.
And right now, that's just not going to do it. DeathPanter going to start things off and be proactive, using his ultimate right there. Pulls one into the ultimate out of the Zeus, and down he goes. Tynz puts number 4 in his kill column.
Stacking those ultimates together. DeathPanter a little too tanky to take too much damage from Faeles, and once again, we're going to see that split right down the middle. It's a 4v3. Meanwhile, No Numbers trying to aggress on this tower. Sibi looking pretty low as well. He's got the level on him.
And it's a little bit Sibi able to hold on to his tower, but here in the mid lane, I would like to see these solo laners rotate right about now, and that's a big play for Sibi to really keep No Numbers in lane. Here's the Vulcan ultimate, and that's enough. DeathPanter falls down. Double kill for the mid lane.
It's like you heard me. He knew I wanted to see more. iRens popping into the air. Wants to log down the monkey. Gorgonzolla putting on the jukes. He knew exactly where it was jumping. The last snipe not going to hit, though.
Unfortunately, the last snipe is the one that counts. That one would have delivered the kill, but coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Oh, still nice,
stay
though.
with one.
That was still nice. Able to know exactly where the Batz was going to jump. Still get a little bit of damage. Unfortunately, close only chaos and horse shoots and hand grenades, so you're not going to be able to count that as a kill by far. It's just a nice flashy play.
Sure. I like Ren, so I'll agree with you. Why not? Ren's here, going to go back to lane. Almost level 20 here. Rama certainly wants to clean up and get himself going. You can see those chin sides available for him, so he can look towards some of the tankier characters here. And there's the ultimate out of the monkey, and that's going to clean up Ren's. There he goes. Lace. That's one for the passive.
Yeah, that's going to be 1, 2, and 5. Now finally putting himself on the map, but Lace probably going to get taken off the map here again. Faeles once again continuing to bully. That's going to be the sanctuary coming out from both.
But
and Gorgonzolla still going to be able to find the kill.
Faeles gets bullied himself. He comes in the lane. He's unable to find the kill on the Lace and then just turn it around. Oh, Burrito.
You poke the dog and up, it's going to turn around and bite you.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we're seeing Burrito do. They're finally starting to find this little lead, looking at the gold. The player damage, too, really starting to grow in favor of Burrito. We're starting to see these numbers. We're starting to see these fights. And that's kind of where the superiority is coming from.
And I'm more concerned about the numbers here in the gold column. There's going to be 500 thanks to the tier 1. And the tier 2 is going to be pressured here. You've got 4 players in Burrito jerseys here, just next to the 2. DeathPanter going to look for the pull, gets it onto Sibi, and the ultimate comes down, not enough to kill the solo.
No, but they waited until his jump was down, trying to take him out. Instead, Gorgonzolla going to get taken out because he had no way to get out. Sibi looking pretty low, a nice tasty target, but going to be able to back off just fine. That's going to be the call for Burrito to back off as well.
Yeah, I like the call from Circa to surge forward, but as soon as you see a little bit of a help from Burrito, you see the squad trying to back up.
Rens wants to make a play, as is No Numbers, able to find the Scourge. The damage coming out from Zeus as well. The Eagles rally right on top, and he goes right into the ultimate. As soon as he comes down, he's going to be in a world of trouble. Brought to you by Lace.
Rens from the sky helps out his team, and Faeles able to clean up a kill that he had gotten a lot of damage on, but Rens is immediately answered back onto. We see a kill go the other way to Burrito.
And the rest of the team going to the left side, whether it's for the Gold Fury or to chase down Lace, they're going to try and just take this objective. Lace, a little bit too far, but he's back here, wanted to... Sibi, not even zoning. It looked like he wanted to. There he goes.
Exactly. I mean, that was the problem for Circa earlier on. Lack of zoning. There just wasn't any this time around. They've made the adjustment. You see the Odin cage come out. That's going to keep the player away. But the problem for Circa...
Lace doesn't have the jump, but now they're going to turn on to Sibi once again. No Numbers getting credit, but the Magma Bomb over the wall going to take out Lace. I love it.
And here's the problem for Circa. While they do employ the zoning this time around, they leash the Gold Fury. They just let it go. That Gold Fury was theirs. That's their key back into the game. They still trail 3K.
Yeah, I mean, and that was an even trade-off. They're trying to keep it stagnant at least, but it's still in favor of Burrito. It's just these ups and downs, these little plays. You can see it especially in experience, a little bit in gold too.
And like I said, that Gold Fury was a very, very important tipping point for Circa. Still is. It's still on the map, and that one will tie things up down 2,000. Allow me to correct myself. So Burrito right here, they have a little bit of a lead. They really need to find the next spot for them to fight on.
Last time we saw Faeles and Mr. Stefan fight this team, previously known as Hysteria, it didn't go in their favor, but it's really nice to see how close this is. With the help of the rest of the team, with the help of iRens specifically, it's really nice to see these calls and see these plays that aren't putting Burrito ahead.
Right here, a little bit of aggression coming out from Circa. Ren's unable to solo it, it being the Gold Fury. As DeathPanter shows his face, and that's enough to chase Circa out of the map.
The timidity still shown by both of these teams is kind of surprising, though, especially coming from the Challengers Cup scene where everything's aggression, but like you mentioned earlier, just a change of scene, a change of coming to LAN. It's a lot different, so we're seeing different strats and different playstyles coming out from all of these players.
Yeah, I mean, there's actually stuff on the line this time around. Here's a big pull. Going to be Jacob in, and there's the follow-up ultimate out of the monkey.
And now Rens has nowhere to go because he popped the ultimate. Now the Eagles rally going to chase him down once again, but the Sanctuary going to save him for now. Gorgonzolla able to teleport forward with the monkey and stop them in their tracks. They wanted that Gold Fury, and Burrito answered immediately.
And here comes the jump in from Circa. Burrito still have the positioning. They don't want to go too deep into the Jungle Tiger because they want to keep their eye on the Gold Fury.
And for good reason, because Burrito going to start it up once again. And last time this didn't work out for them in the Circa's favor. Burrito going to take it once again, all three in their favor. Sibi jumping away, but no numbers, not going to let them get away that easy. Instead, turn back on the rest of the team, try to find a pick after this big objective.
And there's a nice meatball coming over the top from Mr. Stefan, and that'll keep DeathPanter away from reinitiating that time around.
Okay, so what does this mean for Circa? They've lost another Gold Fury.
I mean, this is just another step away from the victory condition. You're down 2,000 at one point. All right, that's not so bad. It's barely a lead. If I'm on a team that's down 2K, I call it a tie game. Now you're down 4K. Well, that's certainly a lead to sort of look at. How do we combat that? Well, we got to find a Gold Fury. Problem is, now you just don't have the sort of, you don't have the chutzpah to really go for the Gold Fury because you kind of know that it's going to be taken away by Burrito at that point. And being down 4K, well, it's pretty not good. But being down 6K, that's bad.
It's going to keep going in Burrito's favor if they're able to keep up this momentum, and Circa need to stop them. Like you said earlier, the magic word is momentum, and Burrito are not going to stop. This Tier 1 tower going to fall to the hands of No Numbers and Gorgonzolla, continuing the gold lead.
And again, these small little picks, this is something that Circa cannot allow. They cannot allow this to happen. 500 gold, that's just free 500 gold.
Nice blink, Mr. Stefan gonna get caught, forced out that purification, so now he's a sitting duck. There's gonna be no way for him to escape out of the CC for the next, say, 2 minutes.
Sure, and that's why we're gonna see a little bit more of the passive play coming out. Everybody has to be aware that these abilities are available and you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, but Burrito want to go ahead and force the issue coming through. Lots of damage, and Mr. Stefan going to just evaporate Tynz in that mid lane fight. DeathPanter, he's just kind of stuck now.
I mean, 6-0-1 for the Vulcan. Fully stacked Doom Orb. Man, that's a scary thing to look at. And Circa's going to push that forward with both the Vulcan and the rest of the squad and look towards a tower of their own.
This is definitely a momentum breaker for Burrito and gaining momentum for Circa. But No Numbers still wants to hit like a truck, but going to get hit himself. Mr. Stefan throwing out so much damage with those magma bombs. Tier 1 tower going to fall in the mid lane, and Circa don't want to stop.
Not at all. They certainly shouldn't. They're going to siege forward. They don't have sustain. Well, they have the Terra, and that's going to provide just enough sustain. They don't have a large amount of sustain, but they don't need it if they're not taking that much damage. They're the ones causing it. Rally away from here, says No Numbers, as he gets aggressed on. There's help from the solo laner, and Sibi's able to get one while his mid lane Vulcan takes out a second.
DeathPanter can do absolutely nothing now. The two big damage dealers, aside from Tynz, are gone. No Numbers is tanky, but when you think damage, you don't really think Bellona. Instead, Circa want to go ahead and make the play happen. DeathPanter going to get evaporated by the Vulcan ultimate. Again, Mr. Stefan on point.
Step forward into my backfire or step backwards into my Earthbreaker. Take your choice. Either way, y'all toasted.
Yeah,
fantastic play on a Vulcan.
Pick your poison. Either way, you're gonna die. And that's great for Circa. They're gonna go ahead, strip this jungle, go through it like a fine-tooth comb, get what you want, and then regroup. We're gonna see a lot more towers falling. There's only a tier 2 left on the right side, and then the last 2 towers on the left for the duo. And it's already looking pretty low.
Yeah, I mean, right now is a troublesome situation. There's 25 kills on the board, and 15 belong to Circa. But unfortunately for them, they've trailed for the majority of this game. But let's take a look at the graphs real quick, because I love this storyline. Look at the lead that Burrito was able to amass, and then all of a sudden, basically a team fight and a half, Faeles was able to help this team come back into it.
It's getting aggressive, but we're waiting to see Burrito. It's kind of at a tipping point here. We're going to see a little bit of aggression coming out from Circa. They want to make a play happen, and instead they're going to take the speed camp for it and may take No Numbers' life. He's getting pretty low, but they're going to go ahead and back off.
And look at the force out. Burrito have to walk away as No Numbers, who's supposed to be the front line, just gets chased away.
He just gets, they're hurting so much. You can see just how quickly the HP bars fall as soon as any of these auto attacks, especially Rens is burning through them.
And that's what you got to expect out of the Ram. He's going to be able to, in the late game, bring this powerful situation. He's got both, well, he's got chins and he's building into the crit now, so he'll hurt tanks and some of the squishies.
Squishies is definitely just take them out as best you can. No Numbers gonna try to take the speed camp, secure it for themselves. A little bit of Terra shenanigans over the wall, but Ultimately, that will still go to Burrito, but they are in the perfect position for a Fire Giant if they so decide. They want to start dancing around it and then maybe take a couple of burritos before they can take it out.
Yeah, so Circa were able to answer back, and looking towards how they're looking at Burrito, they're a little bit behind. So we'll see how this one is working out relatively. We'll see how this one working out. But right now, Burrito, they might have the gold lead, Tiger, but they certainly don't have the lead when it comes to their positioning.
Definitely. And, I mean, positioning is important. What are we lacking coming out from Burrito?
Well, it's hard to really put your finger on it because they have been able to make a lot of hot plays. The problem is right now is that No Numbers, well, he's by himself over there on the right side. He's asking to get picked. If Circa shade over, they're able to take him out, and it's a free fire.
Well, if not possibly free yet, you still have the rest of the team here. DeathPanter charging forward. Fire Giant still being used, but going to go ahead and get leashed instead. We're going to see them completely back off, try to find a play, but them being there was enough to spook them.
Yeah, Circa want to make the play. They want to get aggressive here. Look at it here. They have the positioning and the flank on the right side. Let's listen into Circa as they attack Burrito.
I'm watching. Help Sibi.
That's the family.
That's the show. Yeah, back up.
They fed
Back
them.
up and heal.
Yeah,
That's good.
They fed them.
Yo, back up this way. Don't go through rock. Back up this way.
Hello?
Go around and heal. Go around and heal.
Did they heal? Yes, Zeus, Xbal.
Okay,
Zeus, Xbal.
okay, wait for Rose to come up, okay, and then kill Zeus.
My ult is up in 15, ult in 15.
Batz.
We need to watch it.
Can we start?
Yeah, start it.
Can you restart?
Sibi, thank you.
Yeah, start it.
We can do it.
Yeah, can we burst?
Yeah, burst.
Batz, go.
Burst.
Yeah, burst.
Nice! Bounce in the back.
That's 7. Nice.
Aries.
Son. Fuck. No, wait, be nice. Back up. Hey,
Xbalanque.
Routine. Hey, guys, back up. Take no damage. Xbalanque? No, yeah, back up. Jesus fucking me, dude. They got on me, dude. I'm probably dead. No, I'm out. Oh, back.
Burrito and the Fire Giant getting absolutely destroyed in that Steel Series. Listen, and Circa taking that momentum and running as fast as you can with it. We're seeing a little bit of a lead coming out, but actually from Burrito, but just barely.
I was going to say,
Wow.
Circa running as fast as you can into a tractor trailer. They get the Fire Giant, but Burrito spanked them. More specifically, Tynz. He gets 2 players down, and unfortunately for Circa, it's the 2 players that you want to get down. Vulcan, sure, he still has the Fire Giant, but Rens, the Hunter, toasted. And the jungler, Faeles, who's been so successful, he's gone as well. So now you've got an Odin with a Fire Giant. Well, okay. And you've got to support Terra. It's just not where you want it. Vulcan is going to be the powerful character, but again, Fire Giant for me, I want to siege towers. And a Vulcan with the Fire Giant just isn't the one that's going to do it.
It's just not as terrifying to have it on that support. Instead, you want it on that jungler, want it on Rens. But Circa going to turn their aggression back to the Gold Fury. That was still a 2-for-3 trade, so even though they lost that, they still got the Gold Fury, got 3 kills, and they still have Fire Giant on 3 members.
Gold Fury is necessary there. Very strong call coming out from Circa. They understand that they absolutely have to make that play. And now they're going to make the play on the right-hand side. Rens doesn't have the, or the left side rather. Rens doesn't have the availability as far as the Fire Giant is concerned, but he can certainly do a lot of damage.
And I like the call. Go ahead and use this to the best of your ability. That first tower is going to fall quickly and easily. You just have to sneeze on it. We are going to see a little bit of aggression on this tier 2. They want to go ahead and try to defend, so instead JacobHL going to set through. Here comes the blink and the fear in the ultimate, going to pull him right back into the cage. Sibi trying to get away, and not enough damage coming out from Tynz to even make a dent.
DeathPanter able to grab 2, but it's the follow-up damage out of Gorgonzolla. He's surrounded, however, goes a little bit too deep. A nice jump out of No Numbers to avoid the damage out of the Vulcan player. Stefan picks up 1, Lace gets a 2nd, and it's a 1-for-1 bite back.
No Numbers trying to escape the damage, but you're not going to be able to even if you are Gorgonzolla. Gross. Lots of damage coming through, and this is just Vulcan at late game. Level 20 Vulcan, you still have your 50 stacks on your Doom Orb. You're gonna hit like a freaking truck.
And that's exactly what he's doing. I mean, look at that player damage. Our two mid mages certainly leading the way. Tynz and Mr. Stefan really leading the charge by a ton. Look at that, almost 10,000 more damage than anybody else. Renz is the closest one there, playing the Hunter at 23k.
And we are pushing 36 minutes and 8 seconds, 13-19. Read the kill. Circa trying to turn this back in their favor. It's been very ebb and flow. Burrito had the lead for a while. Circa, then Burrito, and then Circa once again. They're passing it off until somebody finds that magical play.
Burrito seemed to have had, it's interesting that as far as the gold lead is concerned, you're absolutely correct. And Circa has been leading the charge of this game, but for some reason it feels like Burrito have had the upper hand the majority of the time. Faeles started the pace of the game off very quickly, and Circa's the one that were able to start the Fire Giant, start the Gold Fury, start everything else. But DeathPanter, every 30 seconds, this guy's blinking in, gets the ultimate, and then Gorgonzolla follows up with his ult, and they're able to bite back with 1 or 2 kills, and then of course Tynz shows up with the trucker horn, and that's a big deal. I feel like Burrito has been able to make more of an impact in this game.
They've had a lot more control on the objectives, even if Circa had already started them before, versus Circa, who have done a very good job in these team plays, in these fights, and being able to just find these little picks, these little trade-offs that don't hurt them in the long run.
Exactly, and Circa, they need to bottle that, and they need to go bigger. Right now they're getting a nibble. They need to just take a large bite out of the opposition.
Lacey, only one here currently, but we do have DeathPanter coming up the side as well as no numbers. They want to take out this Xbalanque, but he's hit level 20. He's got 3 stacks, and he could definitely use some more, but instead going to jump away at the first sight of any kind of aggression, especially from the Terra.
Look at this play right here. I mean, the play right here, this from Circa is good timing. They're trying to get Burrito to overextend for a simple small buff. If Burrito go ahead, overextend for the small buff, and they wind up getting the pick or 2 picks, well, guess who just spawned behind them? Fire Giant. That's why you're seeing Circa invade the buff this late in the game. Are they really concerned about an extra speed buff? No. They want to goad Burrito into being a little bit too excited, take them out, and then take out the Fire Giant.
It's a positioning power play, and it's absolutely smart. I like what we're seeing, and I don't think we would have seen this in the Challengers Cup. This is more advanced. This is just them growing as a team, getting help from the new players that they brought in and meshing together well with them, with Faeles, with iRens. I think this is a huge part of why we're seeing this step up from Circa compared to what we've seen in the Challengers Cup.
And of course, if they're intelligent, they're talking to the Pro League players that are here. You're here with 4 of the big teams, and there's one of the big plays. Big ring comes down off of a big Vulcan ult, and then big man Tynz shows up and makes a kill.
Yeah, but Tynz in the back line getting a lot of trouble. Only 1 hit away, and Sibi going to be able to find it, but Faeles getting solo, able to find the 2-man stun. Sibi wailing on him, trying to find it, but instead Lace going to find them. The double kill. Gorgonzolla blinking forward. Not going to teleport to the monkey, though. That's on Fire Giant.
I like the play coming out of Gorgonzolla right there. Had he been hit by Vulcan, probably would have died, so instead blinks away to safety. But if he has that blink available, that means he's not making the initiation with the blink,
Nope.
and that's what you need out of Burrito.
We didn't see it for the first couple of minutes because he picked something else, but now I definitely want to see it. That purification has been burned, though, and the blink has been burned for another 95 seconds, so it's up to DeathPanter to try and make a play if he so chooses. But right now, that's dangerous because you don't have Tynz.
Exactly, and Tynz has been one of the heavy lifters, like we said. Look again towards the player damage. Number 1 on the chart is that Zeus.
Yeah, but DeathPanter gonna make the play, the blink and the no escape, burning that purification. At that point, it's a relic burner, and you can't be afraid to use those ultimates just to burn it because the cooldown's gonna be longer than your own ultimate.
Precisely, but here's a little cheeky play. Fire Giant already below half HP. Just 2 players from Burrito trying to make it happen, but Terra's here as well. Ultimate from the monkey goes down,
Jacob.
and Jacob's in trouble.
Jacob is gone, and that is going to be the Fire Giant for Burrito and a whiffed Vulcan ultimate. He tried to make something happen, wanted to find one of them out of position, but instead, that's a big cooldown that's going to be gone.
All right, Burrito get the Fire Giant with 2 players? Outlandish.
40 minutes and 23 seconds. We just saw the Fire Giant fall for Burrito, and a nice sneak play, 17-20. They're still a little bit ahead on gold, but still, 2,000 gold. That's pretty much still an even game.
Right, like I said, if I'm playing on one of these teams, 2,000 gold is basically a tie game. And when you're coming down this late into the game, gold is basically irrelevant. Look at Tynz. He is at cap. We're seeing the red pots come out. And the purple pots, if you want to be that guy. We're seeing the power pots come out. And at that point, 2,000, 20,000 gold lead, it just don't matter.
It's coming down to the bare bones of Smite. Positioning, how you play your god, and how you work with your team. The items, everybody's got them. The gold, everybody's got it. It doesn't matter. It comes down to how you are mechanically at this game, and sometimes those are the most exciting ones.
And right now, Burrito has shown, like I said, even when Circa has had the momentum lead, even when Circa has had the tempo lead, even when Circa have rarely had the gold lead, Burrito seemed to have been in control. And right now, you're going to see the result of that.
Sibi pops up the cage, doesn't stop DeathPanter from using the ultimate, able to pull 2 in its clutches. Tynz gonna fall. Sibi shortly behind, a nice free no evil with the help of Gorgonzolla's jump, gonna be able to lock him down. iRens taking out no numbers though, gotten a little too aggressive, but it still takes down the first Phoenix on the left side.
1 Phoenix is down, 2 Phoenixes are up. Burrito looked like they were toying with the idea of going all in right there, but iRens put that to a stop. So instead, Burrito gonna play it very safe now and go for the towers.
It's just Faeles, JacobHL, and iRens for the next 40 seconds. This tower, there's no point in trying to go forward and defend it. You wanna bunker down at your Phoenix. It's the last thing you can defend before they come into the throne room.
Well, right here, 30 seconds on those respawn timers, and you see it's a 4-on-3 at the moment. Circa gonna watch their last Phoenix go down, and Burrito should go all in here. It's 4-on-3. They don't have any ultimates, and that's why they're gonna retreat. I would have liked to see the aggression, but like I said, they're holding on to their ults.
Yep. Gonna go ahead and at least toy with the idea of backing, but not before they clean out this jungle. At least just give them a false idea of the timing.
So as we see our players back, Burrito going to wait up for no numbers. Unfortunately, waiting up for no numbers means that Circa's going to be alive and well as well. So Burrito, 4 players have the Fire Giant, and here's where they make their play.
We're going to see the pots being popped. We're going to see everything getting ready for the last stand. This is only the first game, a best of 3 out of Burrito and Circa. And so far, like we mentioned, it's been back and forth, but now Burrito starting to slip into that lead. They've already got all of the Phoenixes down. There's no towers available, and this is it. This is we might be coming to a close.
Like you said, the kills have been neck and neck, 19-21, and your game leader right now actually on the bad side of that with just the 19 kills. So it's not always about the kills. It's about finding the correct ones. And here, Gorgonzolla just shadow boxing, waiting for the rest of his team to group up and then push, likely in the mid lane.
And what's the difference, aside from everybody being up? What if they had choked? If they tried to go in and take out this Titan to try to win the first game? They want to be careful, and they're at land, they've got the jitters.
I mean, absolutely, certainly looks like it. Being very timid. It's a 43-minute game, very long game, in juxtaposition to some of the other games that we've been able to watch this weekend. There comes in the Odin, and he's going to drop the ring, and there's going to start the fight.
Yep, calculated, but a nice free no evil. Going to find 3, going to teleport to Stefan, but he's going to be able to get back to the fountain with the help of his sanctuary. iRens, not so much. He's got to fall before he can get into the ultimate, and that's a huge damage dealer out. Eagles Rally going to be able to help out. Tynz going to find the double with the detonate damage. And with that, with all of them gone, it's going to be a nice wreck onto the Titan. That's going to be the first game of the set going to Burrito GG.
So right now, like you were saying, it's a best of 3 scenario here. Burrito need to take the next one in order to cut this day short. Otherwise, you've got a large shot for their opposition over there, Circa, to bring it back to 3.
Very strong showing coming out from both teams, very calculated. This is the first game down under their belts though, so those lane jitters hopefully gonna leave right now, but it's so nice to see them, have them come into this lane experience before one of them goes to Gauntlet.
Absolutely, it's very exciting to see these teams come together and look a little bit, I think game 2 will be a little bit more ready to fight. Like we said, these teams are very timid because of everything that's on the line. You just gave it a brief mention. The Gauntlet, that's what these players are fighting for.
Did you see those smiles on Burrito? They look so happy.
I did. But so the gauntlet is going to be the way that these players are able to fight into Super Regionals. Super Regionals is, of course, the way that you get into Worlds, and we're going to give Challenger Cup a chance. The gauntlet is basically these Challenger Cup will be on the ground floor, and whoever makes it out of this best of 3, they'll be able to fight against the lowest seeded member that don't make it out of Super Regionals out of our 4 groups. It's a little bit complicated, but it's a shot for the Challenger Cup to join the big boys.
It works a little bit like the relegations that we saw earlier on. It just depends on how well they fight and how well they duke it out against these top teams that didn't quite make it immediately in.
Absolutely. Big Mr. Stefan here.
He's so tall. I had no idea he was that tall.
Yeah, he's pretty tall right there. He had a great game, honestly. Big man Vulcan plays coming out. Not exactly the god he's known for, but he stripped it away from Tynz.
And that was the big point here. You see the ultimates coming through, able to evaporate one already, Ares down, and then the backfire. Just a good follow-up and being calm in these pressure situations.
We saw a lot of the big ultimates as well. I love that play specifically where he tried to give you a damned if you do, damned if you don't type of situation. So.
Exactly. We saw a couple of whiffed ultimates, but the biggest thing is he was still able to push out the damage and take it away from Tynz, who, like I mentioned earlier, is literally Vulcan.
Absolutely. So Tynz playing on the Zeus, though, certainly didn't slouch.
No, definitely not. And the ultimates, the placement, not only just for zoning, but I mean, not only for damage, but also for zoning. It was so nice to see that just helping out his teammates.
Absolutely, and he did a great job. And of course, his team was the one that was absolutely able to get the win. So,
there it goes. It works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Pretty much. So we'll see if he reprises his role in the Zeus. Either way, you can see the player damage coming out in just a minute. Tons of it. Honestly, the majority from those mid laners, they finished close to 30,000 damage each, which is definitely where they want to be.
And it was a really long game, so they had a lot of time to accumulate that and then learn the player styles from the rest of them.
So we'll see how this one works out as far as these games are concerned. One in the bank for Burrito. They're certainly looking strong right about now, and they're going to keep pushing on to see if they can close this one out in just 2 games.
And their Paladins team got into the Expo as well, so it was nice to see maybe able to run that at the same time.
Absolutely. Should be fun.